Okay, hi. So as promised, in this video, we're going to work on a special kind of user, which are the librarian. So on this page, we're going to create a link here that will link to a page that allow the user to add some book. Actually, not just a user, the login user who is also a librarian. So here, when the user is logged in and he's not librarian, we're going to kick him out and ask them to log out and log in as a librarian using a special component instead. Okay, so the first step first, let's go back to the header so that we can add some link that we can let people go into this page. Actually, not that one. No, that's a DDCT library. Sorry, it should be here. And we're gonna have to use a link here because we're going to do the inside navigation. And I actually did create some page in this page.tsx in this folder as a template so that we can add some code in because it's pretty long. So it's going to be too much work. The video going to be too long if I just typing in the front end. But let's finish this. This is going to be short. Okay, so we're going to allow this AddBook. So when you click right now, this show the list of not the list. This will show a page that will allow the librarian to add a new book and the list of the book copy. Actually, just one book copy at this point. Later on, we can modify this to allow multiple book copy, and it will allow the user to add multiple author as well. At this point, things not working yet because we haven't implemented anything in here. So we're going to start by doing that. So we're going to go back to the AddBook page. So here we have the success, we have the page.tsx, and the we don't have the librarian login yet. Forget to do that. Okay. But that's fine. It's short. So for the AddBook page, this page, no, the AddBook success page. So this AddBook page, going to have this it's going to have this component called AddBook form that that actually is the form that you see right here. Okay, we do this because I want this to be the server component, and since we're going to do quite complicated interaction on the front end, so I want this to be a client component. So that's why I have to separate them. If you still remember about the network boundary stuff, if you want to do like interactive stuff, your component must be client component. But then you can actually pass the data to blob. So we're going to do that. So for example, here on this page here, we should be able to add author, and if you remember, author is another table, so the user should be able to fetch information and just select the author name from the list. So let's start with that. And I'm going to assume that in this page at this point, I'm going to assume that we already have the user login. Okay, so and the person who already logged in is actually should be the librarian. So we're going to just grab the order first. Actually, probably not. That's not good. That's going to depend on your table. That's going to depend on your table policy. Uh, whether you allow um whether you allow people to access like publicly or not. Actually, I should start from Vercel. Okay, go to storage and here, and then I'm going to open in Superbase. Okay, so now that you will see the table. So again, I already warned you this in the previous video. I'm going to warn you again that make sure that all your table has proper policy installed in them. So for other here you would notice that I allow select for anonymous because front page we allow that. And then you need to allow the update and insert for authenticated because we're going to add the new author if the name doesn't exist. Then we're going to add a new book. So you're going to grant, update, and insert to authenticate it. We're going to do book author, which is the link between book and author. So again, make sure that you have select, insert and you notice I grant delete here as well because in my code instead of doing the update actually use the scheme that every time you update the book I just delete everything from this table and then update add insert a new one. So that's why you see me grant this delete to authenticate it and then add the book copy. Where is it? Book copy. Where's the book copy? Give me a sec. Borrow stat, librarian, loan patron, reservation, tax, test. It should be around book, right? Here, book copy. You're going to allow select and insert to both select for both anonymous and authenticated, but insert for authenticated. We don't do update yet because we don't have like an update book page so far. We only have AddBook. But if you want this to be able to be update information, you will need to grant the update as well. So you notice that it's quite a lot of work doing this RLS stuff. Yeah, but it just gives you another level of security that makes sure that even though somebody get into your front end, but if they cannot log in, your database is still intact. Okay. But then if you forget to grant the security policy, your front end will not be able to update it as well. So you're gonna have to sync this properly. Okay, so on this page, I will not touch the authentication yet. Let's work on the other because we have anonymous policy selection granted to them. So let's work on this drop down first. So here, what we're going to do is that when we do the AddBook page, I'm trying to get all the database stuff in this component. So I'm going to do the load stuff in here as well. So let's do this first. Actually, I'm going to borrow stuff from profile because I'm going to need all these anyway. Actually, all that. Let's just grab that. Okay. And then let me comment that. And then I would need to be able to grab, well, actually, let's grab all these. Even though I'm not using it at this time, So let me comment this. Next time when we want it, we will have it. Okay, now that we have the Superbase client, so let's do the first thing. So we need some order lists. So I'm going to do const. So I'm going to load the order name from the database. And you would notice that I do this directly from order, not book order, because I just need every single order. Because we're going to add a new book and we don't know who is actually in there. So we don't know who going to be associated with this book. So we don't have to do the association or anything yet. We just grab everybody in. So let's check a little bit. I will just do console.log. And now that's going to up to you whether you want to want people to continue the operation or you will just kick him out to somewhere else. I will just kick it to the Ella page again, so that we know something happened. And then just as usual, we just print out the Ella message. Okay, so what we do with this all other? So actually what I'm going to do is that I can pass this to the AddBook form. So here we're going to have a form that going to accept the data from inside this form. So let's pass all these. And it's going to complain, but that's okay because now the AddBook form that I have doesn't accept any prop. Okay, so let's keep it this way for now. And then we're going to go back to the component. And we have the AddBook form. So here we're going to accept the order from the parent. So as usual, we're going to do a prop. So this prop going to be all others with an S. Oops. Hopefully on the other page I have an S. Let's put an S in all these. Okay. So then we define the type. We want this to be an order array. So we don't have this order array yet. So let's define the type. Okay. So actually, let me put this on another line just to make it look nice. Okay, so here it clashed with this one, so let me take this out. Okay, so basically when we go into this page, we load our order from the database and then we pass it to this form, and then we're going to use it later in the form. We're going to add so we're going to have this list of order. So basically the first thing first, let me do add state. Okay, this is because we're going to allow the user to add a few names on the list. And then we're going to use this later. We're going to use this later in our code to put a list of other and check if it's in the database or not, and so on. So this is going to be an object with name. Okay, so this is going to be an array of object that has a name properties. Okay, so here the form status, just ignore that for now. We just going to read the status pending, so let's keep that. Let's continue working on our other change. So basically we're going to go to where we have our order list here. So you would notice that we have this code that from the prop that we take in, we're just going to create an option with a key, order ID, and the value as a name. Okay, so at this point, let's see what we have here. Pretty not okay. So you would notice that that's one. So if you select on this, actually that's not, it doesn't allow me to modify the list yet. Okay. So we haven't done anything yet. So that's why thing doesn't really work. So we're going to add this button. Okay. So when we clicked on that add button, we're going to make it do something. So I'm going to kick this to some function called add order. Okay. Okay. So let's implement that. So what our add order going to be going to do? So basically, it's going to just set the what inside the list, set order with the new array of the previous value, and we're going to add new object. So it's going to be a name with nothing in there. So let's see. Okay, good. So now that we can add the author in here, doesn't we add boundary? Prop to the form with oh no on chain. We're going to do that. Don't worry. Um, I'm just trying to check the so we don't have this minus implemented yet, and also we don't have the on-chain implemented yet. I'm just going to see what happened with this, so whether we have the order name, but I'm pretty sure we have, and it might be just we hasn't implement any everything yet. So let's first do the remove order. So if you notice, we have another button there. Okay, so that add another order. And then we have this we have this list. Um, we have this list here. We have data list. Okay, we have this author list here. That is actually the div that we add the order in with text and a button. Okay, so on this button we actually hasn't do anything yet, so let implement so that will allow us to click on that minus stuff. Okay, so basically I'm just going to set this to a function that call remove order. So you would notice that we cannot set remove order directly because this is going to take in a variable. And since we need the variable here, so we cannot set it directly because the onClick function has to be a function that doesn't takes any variable. Okay. So now that I noticed one thing, here you would notice that the value of this input, basically the text box in this list, we just have um we just have the text hardcode text in, so this should be using author here dot name instead. Okay, so that should work. So basically what we're doing here is that in the map for the div here, this is a div. So inside this div, we create multiple div. We create multiple div with all the other in the array that we pass in as a prop. And in this div, we have text box that's going to show the other name, and we're going to have some button that when we click, it's going to um it's going to show it's going to add new item on the list. And in this text box type text here, we add a list inside, which is actually this list where we loaded all the other name from the database as well. So this is the others that we use as a state. So this will be a list of the order that the user will use for the book, and then this will be the list of in the all the other in the database. Okay, so now actually let's see here this is the place where this keep telling me that I've missed something. So since I have a list, I need to implement on change. Okay, so this will give us an event, and I'm going to pass this to function called handle order change. Okay, this does not exist yet, so let's keep it this way. Okay, this has to be because it's only I'm going to call, sorry, I okay. So because we're going to just do one line, so let's do the short form. So handle order change, we're going to pass in index and e dot target dot value. Okay, so this handle order change going to take in the index. Is going to pass in the value of the thing that got changed here. Okay, so let's go back and implement that. So let's do the remove button first. So when we add the new item to the order list. So when we remove, we will take index and so basically we're just taking out from the order as well. Okay, so here this is what we're going to take in. Basically we just want the object with the index. So anything that is not equal to this particular index, we're going to filter and pass, and this is going to go into the new array. So basically this is create the array without the index that we pass in. And then we just going to set order with the new one without the one that we want to delete. Okay, so that I will remove others. So you will notice that if you remember for the front end, if you just take thing out of the array, it will be considered the same array. So when you do set stage, it will not detect the change. So for all these complicated objects, it might look inefficient, especially when you have a large array that you have to do the copy and duplicate it all the time. So that's why you don't do that with the large array anyway. Okay, so you don't modify like large array in the front end. So here this is a list of the order from the list. So at most it will be 2-3 order. So create a 2-3 object at a time, should be fine. So that's the thing that you have to keep in mind. So last thing that we're going to implement is handle order change. That is the one that we don't have yet. So here we're going to do index as a number, and then we have value as a string. That is what we receive. Okay. So what we do? So again we do another array. So I need another one. So that's a spread. So we're going to create a new array with the original array, and then we're going to say that new orders at particular index going to be equivalent to the value that we pass in. So every time we change thing in the list, we give the value back into this new order, and we set it again. Okay, so that should keep order. That should keep the. Let me see. That should keep this terminal from complain about the order. So now let's delete them. Okay, work fine. So let's add another one. So we have here all the lists of the order. Before it doesn't show up because I haven't implemented everything, and next complaining at me. Okay, so this is handle order. So once we select this call, when we make a change, what happened here is this name going to be replaced in the state list that we buy with this component. And then when we add another order, a new component, a new div is added to the main div here. Okay, if we place delete that component, that div layer inside this other layer here is deleted. And this is when we do it on change. Okay, so this is this div right here. So now that we can so if you have something that should be a list, this I actually want it to look nice. So it can be a div. If you just want to use the option, the selection, you can do that as well. The process is going to be pretty similar. So basically, you're going to populate the option with the data from the database, and then you're going to set the value of that component to something that the user select. So this depending on the component that you use. Okay. Um, so you would notice that we have another array. So that is the array that we used to keep all the option from the user. How many? So this is how many order we have that basically going to go back into the database associating with this book. So, and then this all order here is what we use to populate the map. Okay, here, this is what we use to populate the map. So one thing that we allow is that we actually let them type thing in as well. Let's do fake order so that it doesn't exist. So you would notice here. This actually, if you do this is actually the characteristic of the list. So you would notice that it just do the filtering as well. So that's data list here. Actually, I don't like one thing that I see here, that when this show up, it does not sort. So let me go back to here and do order by. We go to order by name. I think initially it's order by the order ID. Okay, so good. So now it's order by name. So it depends on how you grab things from the database, how this will look like. Okay. Actually, we haven't done anything yet, so I'm not going to add anything in by now. So that's a date component. So here, if you look at AddBook from the TSX, we have input. We use input type file before. We have input type date. So if you want anything that is a date, it will show up nicely. Just say it's type date. You might have to set the CSS a little bit for it to look nicer. Okay, what else should we do next? At this point, we should start working on the main page. Okay, and then later on we can work on the submit. So at this point, what we should do in here is that right now anybody can go in. If you notice, I haven't logged in yet, and I can get onto this page. I want this to be available only to the librarian. So what we should do here is to check the user. We're gonna have to see if the people who come here first, did he log in or not? Okay, if he log in, actually, if you do things nicely, you can throw the part inside the middleware. So lib superbase middleware. Remember that we have this check in Superbase where you have this list of protected path. So if you keep all this, let me do this. Request dot next URL dot part name dot start with. So I'm going to add. So basically, if you put all this protected part inside like one parent, that would be nice. That would be nice strategy as well. So you can check only like one part, and this will block the subsequent part as well. So notice that if I do this again, see it kick me to the login. But I actually don't want this because at this point I have two tables for librarian and patron. So I have two tables for user. Yeah. So pretty not a good idea to and the login actually just kick people to the profile page. With require people to be a patron right now. So that's my original design. Okay, if this is for a real application, at this point it would be a good place for me to refactor the database. But as an example, I'm just going to keep using it. So sorry guys. So right now just go back to database. Okay, and since now I'm not sure if we do this in the previous example already or not, but we're going to modify our table the same way that we did the patron table. So basically, you're going to add the user ID to the patron table. We only have two users at this point. If you like, you can just add the user into auth table. Right here. So auth user, you can just click add to user and then paste the value. You can paste the value of the UUID into the user ID of patron table of the librarian here. Okay, so basically you're going to need the user ID just so that we can associate the librarian with the user who's already logged in. So basically what I actually should do, if I'm going to do this from the start again, is that I probably should have one table for user with the roles. And then for specific roles, we can link him to different tables. So like for user, for the patron, we pretty going to link somewhere else, like with the profile image and stuff. And for the librarian, we're going to not need that much information. So basically we just get name, email, pre address or something like that. So basically we're going to have a user table with the common data that you're going to store for user. And then anything else, we just break it into another table. And we know that for specific roles, we take this particular table, something like that. Okay, but now that I have two table, so we're going to keep maintain both. So this will allow our librarian to be able to log in with super base authentication. So we're going to assume that, so I'm going to take this out from the middleware. Okay, and it's going to let people to go into the AddBook form again. I'm going to do this personal check in this page. Okay, page. So basically, once the user go in, so this is where I'm going to check the user. So if there's no user, we're going to kick him to another login page, the one that specifically for the librarian. Actually it's going to be this one that I don't have right now. Okay, and then we're going to head back to the librarian and implement it. So it's going to be similar to the login. Going to be similar to the login page, except that this time we're not kicking people to the profile. That's all. And actually, let me show you an example of calling the database from the client component. Okay, so actually if we want, we can do this the same as the other login page, but I just realized that I don't have an example for calling database from the client at all. So here is my example. So we're going to make sure that this is the client component by just really use client. So what is the good thing about use client? It's allowed you to do state and make things to be more interaction and stuff. Okay, but you're going to have to use different set of stuff from the server component. For example, here you can do use state, but when you create client, you have to get thing from the client in Superbase instead. If you're going to do navigation, you cannot redirect, you're going to use the router instead or something like that. So let's look at the example. So here I'm going to do use state. Oops. So before we always take this one. So now we're going to take this one instead. So I'm going to take this. Okay, so let's create the component. Okay, so it's going to return section. Well, actually, this is going to look pretty much similar to the login. So let me borrow this first. I fix that later. Okay, so this going to give us this form with the input. So but then let me change this to librarian login. Okay, and let me take out the form from here first, just to realize thing better. Okay, so we're going to log in. Let me put in the instruction. Okay, because this is going to be show up on the AddBook page, so I'm going to make this specifics that they need to log in to be able to add a book. So let me change the class name a little bit. Um, okay, and then we're going to have a form here. So this actually going to allow us to do something like if there's an error and stuff. Okay. Notice that I'm still using form because this will make it easier to be able to read the data. And actually, I'm going to take this button because we don't have sign up right now. I'm going to take the input in. And okay, so this is fine. It's not going to look that nice, but hopefully this is going to be okay. So now that notice that right now this is not server component anymore. So if you want to link stuff from the component to all these input, remember you need to use state. And um, if there's an error, actually we can show the error on this page now. We don't have to redirect. We can enable disable button and stuff. We can pop up like alert message. So now all these things is possible now because this is a client component. Let's get all the use function that we need to call and the data and the variable that we need first. So notice we still create client. We don't do cookies now. Okay. So that's going to be for one of our text box. And then we need another one for password. And then I'm going to do one for error. It's going to be string on now, and we're going to initialize this with now. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is that we're going to have this handle login page, const handle login. So you can take a form event, and then we're going to call prevent default as usual, and then I'm going to stop right here first and just make sure that everything down here actually takes the value from the right place that it should. So this form going to do a handle login on submit, so it's good. I'm going to add the error here. If there's an error, we're going to show a P. And then this pretty should be in red. $500. Okay, so what if we have an error is show up here. So this actually has to be this error in. Okay, for the input it will be type email, name would be email, placeholder email. It need a value, remember. And we're going to link this to our stage. Before on the server component, we don't have to set this because we just read only. Okay. We don't we can grab the value from the from data. We don't have to do the link where it's going to like be able to change the value from the code. Okay, and here when we set the value, we're going to need to do on change so that when people type something, it change the state. If you remember, this is quite a few weeks before, and I've been using server component for quite a few videos, so I guess you might forget this, but please don't. So if you look at back on like our slide on React, you will see the same pattern here. Okay, so we link the value. This is one way, and this is two way. So we link this back, the chain back. Okay, and then we're gonna have to do the same thing for password. So type will be password, name be password. We have placeholder value. And then we're going to do the same on change. Okay, that should be all. And then for the button here, we don't have to do the form action. We can do type equals submit. Okay, and then it will just submit the data. So let's see how it look like. There's an error at this point still. Library login. How do you save? Oh, there's an error here. because this is a function, so I would need this. Okay, still. Let me check the link. Oh, because I commented out, sorry. And right now, what it does look like? Well, oh, there's something hidden over here. Didn't I delete it? Yeah, only have login. Oh, it's hidden here. So let's take that one out because we don't have sign up anymore. Okay, so now this should come out. Okay, so here's what happened right now if you're not logged in yet. So we're going to call you're going to kick to this Libelian login, which is different from another login. So I kind of forgot who my Libelian is. Test@data.com, I think. I'm going to hopefully my password is the same. So let's see. Yeah, it should start. That's good. Because if you remember, we just prevent default form action, and we haven't done anything else yet. So this is expected. So let's come back and finish this. Okay, so now let's set error to now first, just so that if there's an error, we know in the next round. So here, if we have an error, we're going to get it from Superbase. And you would notice that the function is actually the same as the one that we get from the server component, the library the lib/client. This one we get from lib Superbase client. Previously we got Superbase client from lib Superbase server, but you would notice that the function that you can call is pretty much the same set. So we're going to pass in email and password there. So if there's an error, we're going to do set error message. So this is going to be the thing that show up. So if there's an error, we just show it up. Else, we just refresh. So basically, we refresh the page, and hopefully that will get to the stage where we already log in. So let's try this. So I'm just going to type in xxx, which should be incorrect. So there. This is what good about the client component. So like you don't have to redirect to the other page just to say that it's success or it error. You can like instantly block the button as well. Actually you did that with the form status. You can do that with the form status as well. But it will be much easier to do things in the client component. Okay, so now I'm going to hopefully that should be the correct password. Still? Yep, still. So let me try this guy. Okay, yep. So now that we log in as a librarian, Okay, so we can get to this page. If you're trying to go to profile, if you remember last time, we already have a check that the people who come here must be user. So we can say that profile is only for patron. So you can have like pages that work for different roles this way. If you want to do a proper role for super base roles, it actually going to need few more steps for the setup. I can put the link for you guys later. Okay. Um, So actually, I'm going to make this as a part one, because I think the video is actually getting long. So now we finish with the authorization for the librarian. Okay. So the next step that we're going to do, we're going to go back to this, and then we're going to start working on the add book and the copy button. That will be the last thing we do. Okay, I see you guys in the next video. Bye.